What is Thrawn taking back with him to the known galaxy? Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Season 1 of Ahsoka has finally concluded, and after an exciting series of events, Thrawn has returned to the galaxy that we know. The past couple of episodes have dealt with the imminent threat of his return, and in episode 8, he finally achieved his long-awaited goal. However, during his grand escape, which took place over the course of the previous 2 episodes, the Grand Admiral's departure was delayed due to some special cargo that he was transporting from Peridea to his Star Destroyer. Despite how eager Thrawn was to leave, he delayed long enough to acquire this cargo to the point of risking defeat. And even one of the final shots of the episode was a big pan over of the cargo within the main hangar of the Chimera. This seems to be an overlooked detail hiding amongst all the other questions and reveals so far. The show has been cleverly slipping information about this cargo in the entire time, but now we have enough clues to make a theory on what these crates contain. And we firmly believe that this cargo is the remains of the Night Sister race. And if we're correct, then the implications of this answer could unlock the secrets of what's truly going on with Peridea and the future of Star Wars together. So let's open up this video today and dive right in. We're going to start by going through our thought process on this matter and why we jumped to the conclusion that this cargo could only be the remaining Night Sisters. The transport of this cargo was placed at the utmost importance. That's the fact we want to talk about first and foremost. The entire mission of returning to the known galaxy was put on hold for that cargo. By the time Morgan Elsbeth arrived in the super hyperspace ring, Thrawn could have just docked it and jetted off immediately. For several episodes, their departure was delayed due to both interference by our heroes and also the loading of this cargo. It has been slipping into our attention so subtly that all the lines pertaining to the cargo slipped our attention so subtly and was almost treated as a throwaway. But in reality, this is probably the most important clue in the entire show. At first, we dismissed it as perhaps being some leftover Imperial equipment taken from the various ground encampments Thrawn would have definitely made over the last decade. It's not like all the crew members of the Chimera just lived on the ship the entire time. That wouldn't be feasible. Surely this cargo is just their supplies. But of course, we can shoot this down immediately. First, there's no way Thrawn would delay his departure over easily replaceable supplies. And second, the crates aren't shaped like normal supply crates. In the galaxy, supply crates are usually cubical, and if they are longer in shape, they're still much larger than this. These crates are thinner and more pod-shaped. The next easy hypothesis to make is that it could be some rare material from Peridea, like a unique type of metal or crystal of some kind that could be useful for Thrawn's planning. We can easily shoot this down as well though, as there have been absolutely nothing to suggest that Peridea is in any way a planet rich with unique resources. It may have valuable natural materials, but we've not been told of any special kind of metal or gem that would have any value to Thrawn. Plus, Thrawn is not the type to collect this type of material for a big project. Most famously, the Grand Admiral likes to allocate his resources to many wise investments rather than placing all of his eggs in one basket, which is why he famously opposed the construction of the Death Star. Super weapons are not Thrawn's style, and if he decides to go for some special weapon, it's usually one that's already been built and doesn't require too much Imperial attention or material. And again, if Peridea had some sort of special item, I believe we would have been introduced to it by now. So now, we can firmly rule out the rare substance theory. What captures our attention about this cargo is its shape. They are all pod-shaped and roughly human-sized. In fact, they all look more like caskets than anything else. A popular theory stems from Thrawn's famous clone army in Legends. In Legends continuity, Thrawn would end up restarting a clone program with the intent of making the clones completely immune to the Force. This was achieved by splicing the host template's DNA with that of the Ysalamiri, the Force-immune reptile species that was a staple of Thrawn in Legends. These clones couldn't be sensed within the Force, and no Force abilities actually worked on them. They became something of a hassle to Luke Skywalker when he was trying to investigate Thrawn and find ways to stop him. We already see Thrawn taking measures to mitigate how much he has to deal with the Jedi. The appearance of the Death Troopers confirms that he has already come up with many ways to frustrate the plans of Force sensitives. By making his army more resilient with Night Sister magic, it makes sense that he would be creating an army of those that cannot be touched by the Force. Unfortunately, we'd have to shoot this one down as well. There's no way that Thrawn had access to cloning technology on Peridea. That's definitely not something that came with his ship, and they were brought there. And while we don't exactly know how advanced the Night Sister civilization was, we know that cloning technology is extremely rare and experimental in the Star Wars universe. The Kaminoans were famous for it because they were the first ones to perfect cloning. and for a long time, they were the only ones. While many episodes in the Bad Batch have pointed towards the Empire's continued interest in the cloning projects in secret, there's nothing so far in canon to suggest that Thrawn cares about any of that just yet. Not to mention, we have yet to see him talk about or interact with the Asala Miri, at least a living one. We know that he had a statue of one in his office in Rebels, so therefore it is clear that he knows about them. But until we get a name drop or something more substantial, this theory will need to fall by the wayside. So now, what do we believe is in this cargo? Is it the entirety of the Night Sister race? The very first thing that clued us in was Ezra's side comment about what happened when Thrawn first arrived. His exact quote from Ahsoka says this: "Thrawn found this place, woke up the witches, and rebuilt his starship. It wasn't safe to come here alone." The key phrase here is "woke up the witches." This is of course talking about the 3 Night Mothers, who according to Ezra have been in some kind of stasis or hibernation. This lines up completely with what we've come to expect from Peridea. The first thing that crossed our minds when we first arrived to this world and saw the Night Mothers was, where are the rest of the Night Sister race, and why are they alone? It doesn't make sense for the entire Peridian civilization to have completely collapsed, and now for only 3 Night Mothers to remain. Surely they aren't the only survivors, but are the matriarchs and protectors of an entire race. We know how zealous the Night Sisters are for their clan's survival. Whatever they were hiding from or trying to avoid, their best chance was to put all of themselves into stasis until the moment was right. When Thrawn arrives, he wakes them up and promises them survival and escape to the new home of Dathomir. With the Night Sister clans having been wiped out during the Clone Wars, this new shipment of Night Sisters have come to repopulate and restart their people's history. All of them now beholden unto Grand Admiral Thrawn, and willing to back his empire with their magic in return for his efforts, and for Thrawn, quite literally, to be the savior of the Night Sisters. This is also likely why Morgan Elsbeth was so loyal to him, loyal enough to stake her life on it if he asked her to. We could fully stop here, but we want to keep going because Morgan is the next big key to this theory. From the beginning, when she was asked if she was a witch of Dathomir, she only said she was a survivor, perhaps pointing to the fact that she survived the purge of Dathomir. However, what's very curious and has yet to be explained is the fact that Morgan is human and not Dathomirian. It was also proven that she was not originally part of the Night Sisters, or at least not yet. She has mysterious connections to them, but only became a member when she was inducted as a reward from the Night Mothers. It's clear that she may have some Night Sister blood within her, but she is not fully Dathomirian. We can see how much of a massive effect the Night Sisters' disappearance had on Morgan, especially when they visited the old world of Arcana. The entire show saw Morgan tirelessly working her way to Peridea, doing so to rescue Thrawn, to rescue the Night Sisters. What interest would a witch have in the Imperial Warlord? Only because he has something to do with her people does she actually want to find him. In the end, we ended up having our heartstrings pulled on when Morgan made her sacrifice for her people. It was one that Thrawn pushed upon her, but one that she readily accepted after coming to terms with it. Morgan fights and speaks with the full conviction of someone fighting for something much larger than themselves. You can see that she has no personal stakes in this other than her love and desire for the survival of her people. This is proven when Thrawn gives her a valiant last goodbye with a "for the Empire," but Morgan instead follows this up with her own reason, for Dathomir. In her dying moments, it was this moment, and that is where her heart truly lied. She was able to do something quite honorable in the eyes of her people's history, dying on top of the sacred obelisk in a battle to protect the survival of her entire people. It was a sobering moment that gave a lot of last-minute characterization to someone who up until that point was pretty unapologetically evil and villainous. But the natural question would be, what were they hiding from, and why did they do this in the first place? Could it be that they were waiting out starvation? No, of course not. They were trying to hide themselves from something, from the mysterious power that Baylan now seeks, the power that we believe can only be Abeloth. Only a being more evil and sinister than the Night Sisters can handle would force them into this situation and to run from Peridea, to save their very people. But we've talked quite a bit about this in some other videos, and the fact that they are likely fleeing from some sort of higher power, a power that now calls to Baylan's skull, Abeloth. But anyway, my friends, we definitely need your input on this one. Do you think that we are right on the credits? And is this going to be the reborn Night Sister army? Night Sisters, powerful in the Force, loyal to Grand Admiral Thrawn. Do you think that perhaps this cargo is something else entirely? And why was Thrawn so hell-bent on getting it on his ship and to the known galaxy safely? Is this the remains of the Night Sister race that he has not yet awoken? And what secrets and powers did they hide? Anyway, my friends, thank you as always for visiting the channel, and may the Force be with you